Okay, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. We've got a really special episode for you guys today. For those of you who aren't watching the video version of this and are just listening, we've been excited to make this episode happen for a few weeks now since we came up with the idea. We're lucky to coach three sisters from the same family. So we've got Bethany, Ashley, and Rachel here today. You guys say hi.
Hello.
Hi.
So I did a little bit of snooping on the interwebs in preparation for this and found out that you guys come from a family of 9 siblings. Is that right?
Ooh, close.
Yeah, there's
10.
There's 10.
10?
Well, I guess technically 9 siblings.
Okay.
10
All
of
right.
us.
So the first thing that comes to mind when I think about that many people is, number one, how many bedrooms were in your house? And secondly, how much toilet paper do that many people go through in a month?
It's a lot of Sam's Club trips. A lot of Sam's Club trips. Why don't you tell them about the bedroom situation?
Tell me about the house.
Well, we pretty much grew up on a small farm where we had like some sheep. We had 1 bull, 1 donkey, and like a few pigs, and then we had 20 chickens at one time, and now we have like 2.
Wow. So what about like the bedroom sharing situation?
Well, the bedrooms were small, but there were only 3 bedrooms.
Bethany always had her own room. Ashley and I shared a room with our 2 younger sisters.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
no, not
Yeah,
always.
there were 4 of us in 1 room, and then there were always 2 in another room, and then occasionally 2 in another bedroom. So.
Wow. That's a dynamic right there.
Close
For
one.
sure. So we actually also coach your brother Justin and your sister Melanie, but they're more relatively new. So we just stuck with the 3 of you guys for this episode. But let's just kind of go around and just kind of talk about who you guys are. Why don't we start with Bethany? Just introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So hi, my name's Beth. So I work right now in emergency department. I'm a physician assistant and currently working towards my doctorate in medical science. So very busy.
Awesome.
I have no.
Are you saying you don't have a lot of free time?
I don't have a lot of free time, but my sister Rachel is still able to get her workout, and she's got 4 kids. Why don't you?
Wow. Yeah. Let's hear about your story, Rachel.
That's my story.
Yeah, I have a full-time mom, full-time life. That's pretty much, that's all I do. I'm not.
How old are your 4 kids?
So my oldest, she is 5, and then my second oldest, she's going to be 4 in like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I have a 2-year-old, and my youngest is she's 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unreal. Blakely's brother has an almost 2-year-old, and they just had a newborn a few weeks ago. And 2 seems like a lot. I can't imagine you handling 4 and your parents handling all you guys. Are you planning on having 9 or 10 also?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that to myself.
Ashley, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm single. I like long walks on the beach. No, I am, right now I'm a full-time student. I'm getting my master's degree in forensic psychology. I have 3 weeks left of that, and then I'll officially be done. So, but I'm the fun aunt, and I'm her twin. But I'm fun. But I'm older by 1 minute.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just a student and a fun aunt.
Yeah, and you have a good sense of humor. You sent me a message yesterday that I really got a kick out of. She sends me a message and says something about, what did you say? You asked about it.
How would you log hamburger meat if it's from your own cow? Yeah.
I mean, does the cow know where it came from? I mean, wouldn't it be the same? Oh man, you guys keep me on my toes, that's for sure. All right, so let's talk about some of the stuff that Blakely and I are working with you guys on. So even though you're sisters, I'm sure you've all had different experience with health and fitness and adulthood and growing up and different challenges and stuff. So let's kind of talk about that, and let's get a picture of kind of where each of you were before you started working with us. Why don't you go first, Bethany?
Oh boy. Well, I gained the COVID-19. So during the first part of COVID, we had so many donations. We had pizza donated like 3 times a day at work. So I was just constantly just pizza 3 times a day. So I had gained a lot of weight, and, just with the stress and everything, I really felt like I needed to take better control of my lifestyle a little bit better. So that's really, and luckily, Marshall, he was like, hey, listen, you should do this program. He's like, oh, I can pay for it for you, just to get me into it. And I was like, well, I'm going to be too tired for this. But, I started it, and I found that it actually gave me more energy. So, so here I am.
Had you done any other kind of exercise programs or anything like that before?
No programs in particular. I was never into Beachbody or anything like that. But we were always involved in sports, and it kind of, came to a close halt. Like after the first few years of college, after I was done playing some college volleyball, all my physical activity really just came to a halt, especially with school. Very sedentary, so it was nice to kind of get back into the swing of things.
I can identify with that. What little activity I had during that time came to a screeching halt, like you said. So you actually joined Digital Barbell Body in August, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah,
Does that sound about right?
Year.
Yeah, time flies. It's been, how many months is that? That's 8 months?
About already, yeah.
So you actually started just with some dumbbells in your house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot has changed since then.
Yes, yeah. So we now have our own barbell set, which is, I'm starting to get a little bit more accustomed to that, assimilating myself to that situation. It's a little bit different, but I enjoy it. I can't wait until I'm like full blown barbell and I can get into built, but I'm enjoying body right now.
That's awesome. So Ashley, same question for you. What was going on with you when you decided to jump in?
Well, like Bethany, I played sports my entire life. I was a year and a half out of college, and I had just finished playing college volleyball and basketball. So I always identified as an athlete, but then once I moved back home, I had some personal issues, which you and I have talked about, especially in regard to COVID, being cooped up and having a wine and spirits down the road, which we talked about before. But so
it's not an uncommon thing.
Yeah, and so I saw the progress that Bethany had made and that Marshall had made, and decided I wanted that. So I think I joined you guys in November.
Yeah, you're right. November. It's a good Thanksgiving present to yourself.
Yeah. So and it just. I figured I also kind of just needed it for my mental health and just bettering myself.
Yeah.
As an individual, so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Rachel, you're the newest to join the group, but actually you and I think we emailed several times over the last 6 months because you already saw what was going on with the family and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of where were you at as far as exercise being a part of your life and knowing about nutrition and that kind of stuff? Because I think most of our correspondence was about nutrition in the time leading up to when you joined.
Yeah. I was part of a program that I joined in 2017. I originally started because my second oldest daughter, when she was born, she had a lot of physical issues, and she couldn't walk until she was 2. She couldn't hold up her head until she was like 6 or 7 months. So I wanted to kind of be an example to her. And then that kind of like kicked things off. I was part of a program that I would still appreciate to this day. But then my last pregnancy, it was a really awful pregnancy, and there was a lot of things that happened out of my control. And I realized that there were things that I could control. I can control what I put into my body. I could control what I do with my workouts, and I wanted to you know, control those things I had
Mm-hmm.
more control over. And then I saw their progress, and I was like, okay, like this is what I need. So that's why I joined. So
I still remember a message that you sent myself or Blakely. It was after your first 2 weeks. Do you remember sending that message?
yeah.
Yeah, that just really, I don't know. I'm not going to get emotional on here, but I don't know. It meant a lot. You know, you basically just said that you couldn't believe how much better you felt after just 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to bed thinking like, man, I don't feel sick to my stomach. Like, because I hated that feeling. Like at the end of the day, I just felt sick, and I knew it was from all the food I was eating, and like not just how much of it, but what it was I was putting in, and I just felt gross.
Yeah.
So then after I joined you guys, I was like, hey, like I feel really good. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like we got super complicated right off the bat either. We just worked on some basic changes, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of changes, and I have a question for you, Bethany, but this just popped into my head for Ashley. I feel like as far as changes go, Ashley, you've made just such crazy changes to your overall nutrition since we started working together. How has your mindset just around food and just feeding yourself nutritious foods changed in the last however long it's been, 6 months?
Well, the first thing I think I've noticed most, I hate vegetables. Like, I don't know if you remember the first picture I had to send you of the food that was on my plate. There were like 2 or 3 lima beans and like 1 piece of broccoli. But now your body kind of adapts to it, and then you don't mind it after a while. And I will admit, I still love processed food.
Yeah.
It was always Hot Pockets because they were fast. It was always ramen noodles because it was fast. And yeah, I've learned a lot through doing this, not only just how to cook new food for myself, but how to appreciate things that are better for you in general. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have gone back and looked at some of those original food pictures to refresh my memory, but I know you've made some pretty crazy changes. I'm proud of you for that. So, Bethany, in your job, it's pretty much all about health, right? I mean, you deal with people in different states of unhealth all day.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, how has how has the things that we've been doing together, both on the exercise and the nutrition side, just like translated into your job on a day-to-day basis, seeing people come in with these chronic diseases and in emergency states and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, part of the reason why I even decided to kind of get my health in order was because I did have some coworkers that unfortunately did succumb to COVID. Many over the past few years have died from cancer. A lot of close family that have died from cancer as well. And, just taking that and getting some blood work done and realizing that, hey, my cholesterol is high. I'm 30. Why is it high? Just realizing that there's a lot of things that are in our control. There's a lot of things that are not in our control. And, truly we do see a lot of, traumatic things at work that are obviously not in our control. But a lot of what I deal with too is the end result of chronic diseases, and, seeing that on a day-to-day basis and just realizing that really we do have 100% control, at least in this, country that we're in. We have access to all this good food, and there's a lot of places that don't have that, so there's really ultimately no excuse. But also, how can I be encouraging my patients to provide themselves with better lifestyles, when I myself am like, all right, I go see a patient and I'm like, yeah, like if you just lose, just 5 pounds here and there, do this, and that, you're good. And then I go back to my desk and I eat Chinese food, and I'm working down like donuts that the cops bring in, it's just like,
Yeah.
it needs to translate. And I think there needs to be, I want to feel genuine about it when I encourage my patients to do things. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite, because then, you know, it just doesn't feel right. But
yeah. If one of your patients asked you, like, hey, what's the secret? Like, what should I do? What's the most basic advice you would give to somebody when it comes to, you know, setting themselves to not end up with a chronic disease like diabetes or heart disease or high cholesterol?
Yeah. So when I look at it, you know, everyone's always saying, you know, well, health food, you know, it's more expensive. Like, how can I afford this? And, you know, one thing I would just encourage, you know, people to do is to look at food as it is their medicine. What you put into your body is what you get out of it. And you can look at it as it being a little bit more expensive now, but in the long run, honestly, you're going to be saving money on medication, on hospital bills. You're going to essentially be buying years, you know, if you just, you know, pay a little bit closer attention as to what you put into your body now, you know, and try to avoid, you know, processed foods. So that's pretty much how I look at it.
It's hard, isn't it? It's hard to, people don't want to hear that. They want to hear just do this one trick or whatever.
They absolutely, you know, we kind of joke about it. We work in fast food medicine. In many ways, people want a quick fix right now. They want, you know, what they want when they want it. And we, you know, that's just obviously not the case.
Yeah. So, Ashley, you've been going through some injuries in the last couple of months that you've been, Blakely coaches you in the workout program that you do. A lot of people will use injuries as an excuse to not do anything and to quit. I'm not talking about like quit a program or anything like that, but to revert back to their unhealthy habits or the things that got them to the place they were now. How have you avoided doing that? Because I see your communication with Blakely. I know that you guys are working through it. Like, what is the mindset behind you wanting to continue making progress?
Well, I've had many injuries over the years from playing college ball. There was my lung had collapsed back in 2011, and then I had knee surgery probably 5 years now. So I'm kind of used to being injured and having to come back from that, and I do understand that it's a very slow process. But just because it's slow doesn't mean there's not going to be any improvement. So it is frustrating having to, after you've worked so long to build your weight, you have to take a few steps backwards, and instead of doing 35 pounds, you have to go back to 15 or 20 pounds. And it's very frustrating, but it is progress, even though it looks like you're taking a few steps back. So
yeah, it's all mindset, right? It's just like being willing to, kind of like Bethany was just saying on the health front, like knowing that there's no quick fix to coming back from an injury and being patient and knowing that it's worth taking it slow so you can actually stay consistent as you heal instead of making it worse. Let's talk to Rachel again. You've got 4 kids watching you do all this exercise that you're doing. I've seen them in your videos that I've seen. I'm pretty sure I saw you squat on top of a kid the other day.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that, you know, a big part of this is setting an example to them and, you know, being there for them. Are you seeing that play out yet in their lives, them modeling you?
Oh yeah. I mean, you guys, I know you've seen my son Adam walk around with the little 5-pound weight. He'll do squats, he'll do push-ups and stuff. Yeah, I love that they get to watch me. And my oldest, oh no, actually my second oldest daughter asked me today, every time I'm putting a salad together, she'll say, "Mommy, what'd your coach say? What'd your coach say?" And and like they'll ask me every time I'm going to eat something. My oldest daughter will tell me, "Mommy, my coach told me I need to eat more protein." You know, so like, and then she'll even get out my kitchen scale and they'll weigh an apple And she'll ask me, how many calories is this? And I try to make sure that they understand, like, this is just trying to be healthier. It's not, about, having a great body, or, but it's about health. And,
Yeah.
and so they've learned a lot. It's funny just watching them. So they know that it's part of my life. They know that, mommy gets the living room for an hour and a half, 4 days a week. Like that's, so it's become part of our life. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So all three of you actually, Ashley and Bethany, you guys have already finished the 12-week program a long time ago, and you've rolled on into Body 2.0. But this question is for all three of you. Like, think back to when you started the program, and maybe you were nervous. I mean, you all have an athletic past, but maybe you didn't know what to expect or whatever. Maybe your fitness wasn't then where it is now. Like, tell me about the change that you felt from all the way back when you started to like where you are now, as far as capabilities and confidence and that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about like the scale or the measuring tape or pictures. I'm talking about, the way that you feel in your everyday life because of the work you're putting in.
You're gonna think about it. I mean, well, it's because we all three of us have been coached at some point in our lives. When I first started, I always thought, how could you be coached in nutrition? But it really is a whole different lifestyle. It's a whole new way of learning, and that's what coaching is. You're being taught how to do something, and in this case, you're kind of being taught how to eat in a way. And so that was something that's changed my perspective, and I've put more thought into what I'm putting into my body. But overall, I just have more confidence in everything that I do. My mental health is much better than it was, and it's just been personal milestones since I've started. So.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of changes for me. I mean, I remember the first day that I worked out, I think I threw up. Actually, I was like, I'm nauseous. And I was like messaging Blakely, I'm like, how on earth? Because I was working out so early in the morning. It was like 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, how do people do this? She's like, just eat, eat like a few bites of banana or like a rice cake. And like, I just know, going from that point to where I am now, I wake up at 5:30, I'm ready to go. I usually try to get my workout done in the morning and then, before work. And, I'm pretty energized even throughout the whole shift, even minus coffee when nobody can go for coffee runs. Like, I don't feel like I'm overly struggling. Sometimes I think I have too much caffeine and my body hasn't adjusted for the weight loss. And then I have to go like suture a little kid and my hands are shaking because I had too much caffeine for my body weight. Now, I haven't adjusted for that quite yet, but yeah, I think it's all, health is just all a mental game, and that translates into the physical of things a lot of times. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely more positivity, when you're feeling healthy, when you're working out, the endorphins, you feel like you're capable to do more things. So I definitely have had all around, mentally, physically, emotionally, all things have really improved now that I've kind of gotten my life in order, thanks to you guys. So yeah, lots of changes.
That's awesome. Don't thank us. You did all the work. We're just over here behind the computer.
I'm just obedient. You tell me what to do, I'll do it. Like, that's really what it
I meant to say that at the beginning of this, but you guys do not back down from a challenge. I don't know if that runs in your blood or what, or if all the sisters and brothers are like that, but you guys, you seem competitive and am I off base here?
You wouldn't survive if you didn't, and then like 1 in 10.
It's survival of the fittest.
It is like, if you didn't listen, if you were late for dinner, you didn't get any dinner. If you weren't obedient, you get spanked. I'm not in a bad way, but like so we just.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
You mentioned weight loss, so people listening to this are probably curious just about like the results that you really can get from consistency through all this stuff. Do you guys want to speak about just progress you've seen? You don't have to mention weights or anything like that, but just like, you know, non-scale victories, changes in your body composition. You talked about how your energy has changed, just those kinds of things. What should somebody expect if they're as consistent as you guys?
Well, I know that I'll just say I weigh less than I did when I got married. And to me, that's kind of significant because I've had 4 kids, and one only, how old did you say she was? 5 months, 6 months?
You're asking us.
But anyway, so that's a big accomplishment for me. Like I think I'm over the goal that I was at. And that kind of encourages me to kind of, keep going. And I do have, I have a lot more energy. I can keep up with my kids. I'm not falling asleep on the couch at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because, my nutrition was so bad but.
Are you saying that was happening before?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I would crash on the couch when 2 kids went down for a nap. That was my nap time. I was like, all right, mommy's clocking out. So I don't have to do it anymore. So, I have energy, and that's been awesome.
That is pretty awesome. What about you guys?
Yeah. What was the question?
Just talking about more like the physical results of all the work that you've put in.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the favorite part of my job is like when I get to send people collages of their progress pictures.
Oh yeah. I think it took me like 3 or 4 weeks of you hounding me to take, the initial pictures, because I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm very happy that I did, and I really wasn't actually planning on it, but then I'm very happy that I did. So yeah, and I did lose close to 40 pounds now, I think. And I can't remember if I actually set a goal weight. I just wanted to get more athletic feeling, essentially. I wanted to be able to do things without feeling like my back was going to give out on me towards the end of the day. And I have definitely reached that goal. And I think now that, I'm honing in to where I'm probably going to maybe start gaining more muscle, because there's not really much more weight that I really need to lose, that it's just going to further progress my athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
But
I love hearing you say that.
I still battle the whole scale, looking at the scale. I hit my lowest weight the other day, and then the next day I went up 2 pounds, and I'm like, what? Then I'm like,
I did everything right. What happened?
And it's been 8 months, and I'm like, why has our society conditioned us so much to look at the scale? Mm-hmm. It really has nothing to do with that. And honestly, even with like the inches lost, I don't necessarily think that that's something I like looking at either. I don't usually, it's just more about how I'm feeling that I try to go off and down. But
yeah, I would imagine 40 pounds of difference, and like your body composition has just completely changed. You had to buy a different wardrobe.
Now I'm eating a lot more than I was probably eating before I started with you guys.
I tell you this every week on your nutrition check-in, but when I go and start looking at your stuff, I'm always just like, I'm so glad she gets to eat all this.
Me too. Yeah.
It's a good amount of calories, and I say this all the time in your check-in, but I'm proud that you're not eating 1,000 calories to get and maintain the progress that you have. And it all goes down to you being compliant with the program. So you get all the credit for that.
What about you?
What's up, Ashley?
I kind of, just to reiterate what Bethany said, I still struggle with this, looking at the number on the scale. And I think when I first started, I looked at the number on the scale. I was okay, this is what I'm at. This is what I want to be at. And 2 weeks had gone by, and I was still about the same weight. And it's very frustrating. But it's just a matter of consistency and Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say other than that, but it's very easy to pay attention to the number on the scale. And you just have to get past that.
Do you ever have weeks where you get fixated on the daily number on the scale, and then I tell you what's happened with your weight over the course of the week as an average, and you're surprised?
Oh yeah, no, I think Christmas, I was one weight, and then I think like 3 or 4 weeks had passed, and I was like, how come, like, have I hit a plateau? I'm not doing it. And then you'd send me the graph and it'd be like, bloop, bloop, bloop. I'd be like, oh, you're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, wait, you're.
It's easy to do. I mean, I'm the same way. You know, like I'll weigh myself every day, and then I'm like, well, probably nothing happened this week, and then I'll run the numbers like, oh, maybe something did happen. But it's you know, you mentioned it's a struggle, but I think it's worth the struggle to truly know what's going on with your body versus, you know, weighing yourself once a month, and maybe you catch it on a day where you're up 2 or 3 pounds and you feel like you've been doing so good. Whereas if you had, you know, put more plots on that graph, you could actually see what's going on, and it would encourage you that you're on the right track.
Yeah, definitely.
I was thinking about, I think it was the second day after I started watching my nutrition, I stepped on the scale and it went down like 2 pounds, and I'm like, it works. It works. And then you were like, this is just water weight. I'm like, you know, I'm learning to kind of ignore the scale.
If I was a good business person, I would have screen captured what you said and like do a paid ad. Like, look at these instant results.
Yeah,
it worked. And one thing, we're talking about all these like results, but let's not underestimate like how much stronger you all have gotten over the last, you know, however long you've been doing this. You know, you're lifting legit barbells with legit weight on it. I mean, you've come from an athletic past to going back to kind of starting with lighter weights and dumbbells, and I mean, it's exciting to watch your strength progress. I know Rachel Blakely mentioned that your strength is just like rapidly increasing. So, you know,
yeah, I lifted up my nephew today at his baseball game, and he's heavy now. And I go back and my mom's sitting on the bleachers and she's like, Bethany, your arms. I'm like, I know, right?
That's a wanted side effect of your training for sure.
Yeah, that's a good.
So, okay, let's wrap up. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but there's people out there that are right now where you guys were before you decided to do something. What do you say to that person who's like, I either can't change, this is going to be too hard, or it's not worth it?
It's all about your mindset. You really have to stop being your own worst enemy in a lot of situations, because we're sometimes our own limiting factor. And you have to just learn to sometimes ignore the negative that your own self, you know, tells yourself, essentially. And I think that's what has helped me, at least, just keep moving forward, because even if you feel so fatigued at the end of the day, our bodies can actually handle a lot. You know, they're meant to handle a lot more than we think we can handle. And just remember that, because there's some days after work, like if I say my workout for the end of the day, there's some days where I'm just like, man, I don't want to do this. And then I'm always happy that I do.
Yeah.
Never ever regretting that I worked out.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know. You can't underestimate the mindset side of everything that we're doing here. What are you laughing at?
I had something in my head that I was going to say, and then I forgot.
Oh, it dropped out. That happens to me all the time.
What were we talking about?
Can you repeat?
Just talking about people who are now where you were before you started, and they're just like.
So what I always tell myself is, a year from now, you're going to wish you had started a year ago. And I think that's the same thing that I repeat to myself. And there are so many times where, especially once everybody came out with their New Year's resolutions, everybody's like, I'm gonna start working out, and you're just like, I already do. And like you're listening to people, because working out at home is now so popular because you can't go to the gym everywhere. So you're already kind of established. But in order to be established, you have to start. So that's just kind of what I've always thought. I mean, because at first, I didn't really want to do it because I loved sitting at home and not having to do anything. But then now, even like Bethany will text me, she's at work, and say, I'm thinking about doing my workout tonight instead of having to do it tomorrow. I don't know if I should do it or not. What do you think? And I'm just like, just do it. Just get it done. And then so we always end up getting it done early, and it's, if you don't start, you're not going to be able to finish. So
yeah, there's a lot of planning involved in these things.
Yeah.
I think that the one thing that people are lacking lately is just motivation. And I mean, honestly, I'm not motivated every day to work out. Sometimes I dread it, but I know that even though don't have the motivation, I just have to get it done. Just start. So there's that, but I also think that one thing that a lot of people don't have is accountability. And I mean, before I started this program, I thought like, okay, like somebody can ask me, hey, what'd you eat today? But they can't do anything about it. But it's so much more than that. It's about the encouragement. It's about, hey, like, I mean, I know like, okay, like Jonathan's going to see what I've eaten. Like I need to eat really well because he can see this, but like, it's so much more than that. And I know that as time has gone on the past 2 months, like I have a better understanding of what accountability is. And that's something that I've needed. And I know like we can, be accountable for each other now too. And that's been great. And it's become clear over the past few weeks, like what that looks like. So.
Yeah, that's so key. Having some support somewhere along the line, whether it's accountability or just somebody to tell you, hey, let's do this now together, or somebody just checking in on you. That's huge for sure. Well, guys, it's we feel super lucky to have you guys all, and Blakely's not here with me right now, but I know she feels the same way. We greatly appreciate your trust and the people that you have influenced to also go down this same journey. We've lost track of how many people we have connected to you guys, and it's because of the example that you're setting for them. And that's just awesome.
Well, we thank you guys,
Yeah.
because we wouldn't be in this situation otherwise, because it's not, we'd probably be where we were before we started at this point, honestly. So we're lifers.
Well, we're lucky to have you.
All
right, guys, any other parting words before I wrap up?
I don't think so.
Good. I think we said it all. Thank you guys again.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bye.